All right, today we're going to be taking a look at my top 3 supplement recommendations and why I take them every single day. Not only that, we're going to take a look at some minerals and vitamins that I take every single day as well. One thing really quick about supplements, they are not going to replace hard work and proper sleep and proper hydration and exercise and proper nutrition. They will be supplemental to those things, and they can help. They can give you that extra edge, 1% maybe, but 99% of the results you're looking for are going to come from all that other stuff, the effort, the hard work, the consistency. And so just keep in mind that if you're just taking supplements and you're not doing everything else right, you're probably not even going to notice anything. A lot of supplements are dependent on exercise and proper nutrition and all these other things also aligning. So if you're doing a lot of things right and you add supplements into the mix, they can be helpful. You can notice some results from them. If not, you probably won't notice anything at all, and you cannot rely on them for the results that you're hoping to get. With that, let's dive in. All right, first on the list, we have whey protein. Now, the reason I take whey protein every single day is because I want to get enough protein in, and obviously there's lots of different benefits to hitting your proper protein for your body. Protein is going to support muscle recovery, growth. It's going to also help you have more energy, but additionally it digests slower and therefore increases your metabolic burn. So it's good if you're trying to lose weight or put on muscle to be hitting your protein. It's also going to make you feel more full. Now, why not just eat my protein? Why am I taking a protein supplement every single day? Well, you should be aiming to hit about 0.7 to 1 gram per pound of your body weight in protein, or your goal body weight. And so one of the challenges you're going to run into, like most people, including myself, is that if you're trying to hit enough protein, it's going to be hard to not also go over on your calories. So you'd have to eat really, really lean sources of protein and eat a lot of them in order to hit your protein each day. That's where protein powder comes into play and is extremely helpful in hitting your daily protein. Now, I typically only take 1 scoop a day. I still do like to get most of my protein from food sources because of all the nutrients and minerals and vitamins that come with those. Now, how do you choose which protein powder you're going to go with? Well, I wouldn't say that this is necessarily the only option. There's tons of good protein powders out there. There's also tons that aren't so good, but here's a few things that I look at when I'm picking a protein powder for myself. First of all, I'm going to obviously look at how much protein is in each serving. This particular bag has 24 grams per serving. Now, that doesn't tell me much on its own. The next thing I need to look at, though, is how many calories are in each serving. Now, what you need to understand is that there's 4 calories per 1 gram of protein. So we want to multiply 4 by the amount of protein that's in a serving. So obviously, we're going to have 96 calories that are coming from protein in this particular bag. And this one has 120 calories per serving. So that tells me 96 of the 120 calories are coming from protein. That's pretty good. Some protein powders, normally the ones that you see the word concentrate on, are going to have more fat and more carbs. And when you're trying to get protein from protein powder, obviously, you want something that's mainly protein. And so yes, you're going to sacrifice taste a little bit if you find one that has less calories and is mostly protein. And there's ones that are even more protein than this. I think Isopure is 100% protein. There's no fat, no carbs at all, I'm pretty sure. But it also doesn't taste very good. And so there's a sacrifice there. But again, to me, I'm not so much concerned about the flavor. I'm trying to get protein in, and that's my whole point in drinking this. I don't want to be drinking a bunch of extra calories. I'd rather eat them. The next thing I'm going to look at is on the nutrition label. I'm going to be looking at the scoop size. And so this particular one is 32 grams. I'm going to compare that to the amount of protein per serving. So 24 grams of protein, a 32 gram scoop. I want to see what the difference is in those numbers. So that particular example is going to be 8, right? The higher the gap is, the less pure of a protein source you're getting. And so you really want that gap to be lower, obviously, and that's going to mean it's a more pure protein. And so I look for anything below 10. I don't really want to go above 10. If it's like a 42 gram scoop and I'm only getting 24 grams of protein, that's not very good. Another thing is I don't want a ton of sugar. This one does have 2 grams, unfortunately. There are ones that have no sugar at all added to them, and so that's going to be more preferable. Again, obviously, it's going to not taste quite as good, but when I'm drinking protein powder, not really worried about that. If you're drinking protein powder to enjoy it, you probably could find something else that you'll enjoy more. So those are the main things I'm going to be looking for. This particular one also has 5.5 grams of BCAAs. Sometimes they might have creatine or something else in them. That's fine. It's all good. It's not the main thing I'm looking at. I'm mostly looking at the protein because that's what I'm getting it for. But all that extra stuff is okay as well. Next up, creatine. Now, creatine for some reason is controversial. I don't know why. It's literally the most studied supplement on the market, and it's been completely proven to be safe. There's been so many different studies done with creatine. It's also been proven to be one of the most effective supplements that there are on the market. Now, not everybody responds to creatine the same, and some people really don't notice much of a difference at all. I think it's like 1 in 4 people won't even really notice it. Still isn't bad for you though. It doesn't hurt you at all. And so, creatine is something natural. It's something that you produce within you. It's also in a lot of meats that you consume. And so there's nothing wrong with creatine whatsoever. Obviously, like anything, if you're doing too much, if you're overdosing, it could tax your kidneys and have other issues. But as long as you're taking the recommended serving size, you're not going to run into any issues. Creatine is not a stimulant whatsoever. It does replenish ATP, which will allow you to be more explosive, have more energy, and be able to just do more reps, which in turn is going to help you to build muscle and get stronger. It's not a stimulant, however, you're not going to notice this, boost of energy when you take it. Why do I take creatine every day? Mostly because why not? It's going to help me perform better in the gym, and it helps me to get more reps in, have more energy in my workouts. And so there's not really a reason not to take it. It's also one of the cheapest supplements that you can get. And you do have to keep it in your system, so you have to take it daily in order for it to be effective. And so it's just one that I take every single day in addition to my protein powder. One other area where creatine gets some flack is that people will say you shouldn't take it while you're trying to lose weight because it retains water. And it is true that it causes water retention, but it's intracellularly. It's not subcutaneous. In other words, it's not under your skin. You're not going to look bloated. It's only going to fill up your muscles, and if anything, potentially make your muscles look bigger, but that's about it. And so, yes, you can take creatine even while you're trying to lose weight. It's actually going to help you keep your muscle and not lose it while you're losing weight. And it's not something you ever have to cycle off, so you can take it year round. Lastly, we've got Amino Energy. Now, Amino Energy would probably be the lowest on my list here. I would probably remove that one if I could only keep 2 out of the options. However, it's still something that I take daily because it has 50 milligrams of caffeine, which obviously is a stimulant, and it gives me a little energy boost for my workouts. It also has some electrolytes and other things as well. And so I mostly use it as like a pre-workout that doesn't have a ton of caffeine. It's got 50 milligrams per scoop. 2 scoops is a serving. I usually only do half a serving. And I also do like the flavor of it. I think it tastes really good, and there's lots of different flavors. And so I personally like to mix up a little drink where I put my creatine and my Amino Energy and one other thing that I'm going to show you in a second all together, and I just drink that as a pre-workout. Amino Energy also has 0 sugar, and it's only 5 calories per serving, which again is 2 scoops. So I'm getting about 2.5 calories each time I take this. So we're doing just fine there. It's also got an amino blend, so I'm getting some more amino acids through that as well. All right, so here's a little concoction I put together. I put my creatine, my scoop of Amino Energy, and then lastly, I add a 1/4 teaspoon of something called no salt, which is straight potassium. It's a sodium replacement, and it's got 690 milligrams of potassium. That's all it is just directly potassium. So I add that in as well. And you could use it as a salt substitute. That's what it's for. I personally think it tastes gross, and so that's why I add it into that drink, and I just drink it all down, and it's a lot easier that way for me rather than trying to substitute my salt on my food. Now, a couple questions you might have. Why don't I just get a supplement for potassium? Well, this is going to be a way cheaper option. I think it's like 239 servings for this little thing here, and I think it was like $7. So that's going to last me a long time, and it's really cheap. Additionally, it's got a lot of potassium in it. Even some of the supplements aren't going to have that much. Now you might think, well, isn't that too much then potentially? No, we need about 4,000 milligrams of potassium a day. And just to give you an idea, a banana has about 300. So it's really difficult to get enough potassium. And that's one of the reasons I've added that into my diet. Which that reminds me, I'll actually link below a free download you can grab. It was something I put together just in my phone notes for myself personally. It was just a breakdown of vitamins and minerals that we need each day, the amounts. And then I just did some research and grabbed some different foods that are high in some of those minerals and vitamins and made a little list of some of those foods. And some of those foods are actually things I eat every day as well, which I could do a whole nother video on that. But I mentioned that just to say, yes, it is still ideal to try to get things from food. That is what I do most of the time. I don't take a ton of extra stuff if I can avoid it. And so I only take things that I realize after doing this study that there's just no way I'm getting enough of this, even if I were to eat only these foods that are super high in these things. Which brings me to the next one that I do take, vitamin D3. with K2. Now you probably already know about D3 with K2, helps with absorption, taking the K2. And obviously D3 is just necessary, and we don't get enough of it from the sun when you live in a state like Michigan, like I do. And so that is one that I take. I do take it year round. I just take less during the summer, and then during the winter, I up it. The last one I take is magnesium glycinate, and this is a 240 milligram amount per serving. Now, it is possible to hit your magnesium each day. I feel it's physically impossible to hit the potassium or the vitamin D, especially in the wintertime for that one. But the magnesium can be done. And so I don't necessarily take it all the time. It's more of a as needed if I feel like I'm not getting enough. And vitamin D and magnesium also work together. And so making sure that you're getting enough of both is important. I have considered adding in some sort of vitamin A supplement into my lineup, just because that's another one that I found is difficult to get enough of. Not a lot of things have vitamin A. And so I've considered it, haven't done it yet. I'll get back to you on that one. Well, there you have it, my top supplement recommendations, my big three, as well as some extra vitamins and minerals that I like to take each day as well. I'll link to each of them in the description if you want to check them out on Amazon. Make sure to also check out that free resource that I'll put down there. All right, hopefully this was helpful for you. I will see you in the next one.